the stress level? No, don't do it. Get a grip. This stupid video I just showed you. I almost stroked out and died over it. You're watching a different show. You donkey. You ain't a captain of nothing but a sinking ship. Don't do this to me, Harry. The Ohio State. It's Ohio State. What do you mean, the? 312-988-15.
Hello?
You tell Johnny all you've heard and seen. Sometimes it's good to just yell about football. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Welcome in. Welcome back, folks. It's going to be a long week. It's going to be a long week. We still have a full another week of this buildup to go. It is going to reach a fever pitch the further into the week we go, and then you get into the weekend. And this is what you want, you guys. This is what you want. Like it's just. What a whirlwind. I'm not used to seeing Notre Dame on the national news, not like ESPN or something, or like NBC, the home, running the commercials for Inside the Irish or whatever, but like on the local Chicago news. And now they're all talking about the Bears wanting to hire Freeman and all this stuff. Like this is what you want, man. This is what you want on the big stage. Everybody talking about you. This is what you want, and you're here. And both these teams earned it and have deserved to be here. And this is quite the buildup. And there's some narratives. There's some narratives emerging here that are really interesting, and we need to figure out how to process them. And again, I do think we need to be careful with the generalizations, although I do that too. About like an entire fan base from one side or the other saying this or that. But there are some trends nationally that I'm seeing that I want to go over. And so feel free to give me a call, 312-988-15. We already have a few calls today. Jump in early. It's usually a lighter call load than later when people wake up or do whatever they're doing. But this is what you want. This is what you want. And both these teams have earned their way in, and there's one game left. And the narratives are pretty divergent from what I'm seeing. Maybe you guys are seeing something different. So let's get into this. As always, you can find the program on YouTube. Do hit subscribe if you haven't yet. Appreciate it very much. Give the video a thumbs up. That helps John out as well. Notifications on that way you don't miss nothing. Twitter, search bar Always Irish or Always Irishing. Emails alwaysirishnd@gmail.com. Audio only. Anywhere you want it, you can get it. If you don't want to see my face, nobody blames you for that. How do you think I feel? Honestly, ask yourself. How do you think I feel? You know the phone number. Notre Dame Fighting Irish brought to you by SI. Read all about it. Patreon.com/alwaysirish. I'm telling you, man. Jared Clark and Mike, they've been breaking down the film. They've been doing a good job. That Penn State stuff, we did 2 hours breaking down every defensive play, 2 hours breaking down every offensive play from every which way. And now we're transitioning into the preparation for this game and what Notre Dame could do to put themselves in a position to be in the game and pull this out and make history. So reminder, ND Natty, capital letters, NDNATTY is the promo code to jump in Patreon. We got a lot of people that jumped on board for this ride, and I love it. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. And so here's kind of where I'm going to start, and then we're going to give it to the callers. First thing is, I want to say I am genuinely trying to get a bunch of more callers on this show. This is such a big moment. All the last few shows I've done, I've got to end them with a full phone bank, and I'm not trying to be rude to anybody. I'm not. It's just, I'm trying to get as many people in, but there's never been this many calls. It's a good thing for the show, but please understand, I'm not trying to be rude if you don't get on or whatever. I'm trying to move through them and give you guys your time. So here's where I'm going to start, and then we'll do a couple of these super chats and a couple of chats I highlighted, and then I'm going to give it to the callers. Thanks a lot, Commander. Thanks, Shane Gillis. Thanks, Shane Gillis, for that. Bruce, you're calling the wrong number. You're calling my cell phone and not the call-in line, Bruce. Yeah, thanks, Shane Gillis, for those numbers getting over 12. Okay. Listen. Everything I've seen, generally speaking, on social media, a lot of the articles I'm seeing being written, most of the other podcasts, whatever. Why even have Notre Dame show up? Why even have Notre Dame show up? They have no chance. You're going to get smoked. You're going to get worked over. The point spread, is it up to double digits now? Why even have Notre Dame show up, apparently? It's just, here's where I'm at with this. I've really been trying to soak this in, thinking this through. Ha ha, John playing the victim. Hear me out here, man. Hear me out, Carl. Carl! Hey, Carl! Hear me out. Ohio State should be favored. I totally understand why Ohio State's favored. If you want to cite their excellent performance ever since the Michigan thing, it woke them up. They've shifted their approach with Chip Kelly, used those athletes, and, they found a different level after that Michigan game. Great. They looked like the most dominant team through the playoff, through the first few rounds. I don't think you could deny that. What Notre Dame has done is impressive, but in a very different way than what I'll say Ohio's done, which is impressive. Like they both got here in impressive ways, but like the way Notre Dame's grindy and gritty and finding a way in unfortunate injury circumstances and everything else. And then on the other side, Ohio State's been more flashy about it, more dominant about it. Let's just be clear about that. They should be favored. They are favored. You could cite their playoff stuff, how much they've turned it on, in their winning margin in all those moments or whatever. And so I get that. Notre Dame's really banged up. And the danger with that is you don't want to just be like, oh, Notre Dame's banged up. It's an excuse or whatever. No, we're not using that as an excuse. It's just a fact. You're down like a dozen in the two deep. You're down like a dozen in the two deep, and that's just a fact. And they got a $20 million roster, whatever. So I understand all that. It's just like Ohio State should be favored to win this game, but Notre Dame refuses to lose a game. Something's got to give. That's how I'm looking at this. Like Ohio State should be favored or whatever to win the game, but Notre Dame just refuses to lose a game. Something's got to give there, and I don't know what's going to happen. But I mean, it does depend a little bit on where you're looking. But I mean, I saw a Yahoo Sports article that said, Ohio State huge favorite, guaranteed to blow out Notre Dame is the subtitle. It's like, man, why even have Notre Dame show up? And the Saturday night show, when a bunch of the Ohio State people jumped in here, the majority of them were very, very confident, supremely confident, that Notre Dame can't hang with this team. Here's my point. Would I prefer to have a healthier roster and a $20 million whatever portal roster and everything and blow a lot of people out in the playoff and be totally flying? Like, yes, I would prefer if you gave me a choice in the build up to this moment. We were on the side being like, yeah, we're healthier and we have more top end athletes everywhere ready to go, right? I would prefer that be our situation entering the game. It is not. That is not the situation. So then my mind goes to, if you're not in that position, then what? And my answer is, you totally 100% lean into the underdog thing because that's the narrative this time. So if you're not going to feel like you have the talent and health, the raw talent and health edge, which I don't feel like we have, and that's obvious, the next best thing Notre Dame could do is fully lean into the underdog thing, lean into find articles disrespecting you, put them up in the facility, replay the 23 ending of Ohio State and Notre Dame where you handed them that game, do all that stuff. And now I'm getting pushback on the money. Did you guys not? I thought you were bragging all that offseason in the portal. I saw articles bragging about Ohio State getting serious and paying all that money, and now you don't want to own it, or what? Which is it? Which is it? Because when all that happened and you got all those players, you were all fast to brag about now we're getting serious and spending all this money, and now all of a sudden you don't want to own it? Why? There's nothing wrong with it. It's not illegal. There's nothing wrong with it. Why are you trying to downplay it now? There's absolutely nothing wrong with it. The $20 million was mostly spent on roster retention. Okay, $20 million's $20 million. Why not? What's the problem? Why is that like an offense now when I bring it up? I don't get it. The best thing Notre Dame could do is lean into the underdog thing 100%. That is just, it's going to be the narrative here Notre Dame's going to play. And so far, Marcus Freeman's done apparently a good job of setting up the narrative and the build-up and getting these guys in the right mind frame because they've been winning these games and pulling it out, even when it's looked pretty rough. So if you're not going to feel like you have the talent and health advantage, and you're already looking at like a double-digit underdog situation, dive in totally 100%, dive into this and totally embrace all of the underdog stuff. Let all the pressure go on their side. Do all of that. 100% buy into the us against the world, everybody going against you, like whatever, man. That's, I think, Notre Dame's best path here is go ahead and do this and just make yourself the biggest underdog you possibly can in your mind. Us against the world, like the whole thing. So that's kind of where I'm at. I am not saying I would prefer our position, but the reality is you're banged up and whatever, and you're running thin on bodies, and this is just the way it is. So lean into it 100%. Hope the Ohio State fan base is so overconfident. Like, do all of that. Like, embrace it all. And then see what you could do. And I got a video coming out tomorrow about if Notre Dame's going to pull the upset, 5 or 6 things they're going to have to do to be able to do that. And I guarantee the comments are going to get ripped to shreds. It's going to be all the Ohio State people saying, why even show up? You have no chance. I mean, here's the other thing. Unlike some of these other years, like Kelly has an undefeated season against a lighter schedule. You make the playoff, it's one game, and then you make the BCS or the playoff in a 4-teamer, and then you get blown out. There's a lot of like Notre Dame didn't belong, even though they went undefeated in that moment. How could anyone, I'm still seeing it. How could anybody like not say Notre Dame earned their way into this title game? I'm seeing some of that. Like, this is the best matchup we could get. I've seen a lot of that on Twitter. This is the best matchup we could get for the championship. Like, what do you want Notre Dame to do? You threw the SEC champion at them. They couldn't beat them. You threw the upstart Indiana's awesome all year that the Big Ten tried to sell you on how awesome Indiana was. That didn't work out. Then it was going to be Penn State finally and their great defense and all this stuff and run game. That didn't work out. Is there anybody that can really say Notre Dame didn't earn themselves into this moment? Geez, I thought this time with Notre Dame having to win their way into this with 3 games, you could get a little bit of that credibility, but apparently not. And it's like, oh, geez, now we got to watch Notre Dame in this game. I'm sorry, man. You had 3 different teams that could have knocked Notre Dame out. None of them could do it. Most definitely not Brian Kelly. Oh, I mean James Franklin. Sorry, I get them confused. Both have oversized egos. Empty trophy cases. And a lot of big game losses. A lot of big game losses. I'm serious, man. I've been saying it forever, and every time I say it, I'm proved correct. James Franklin and Brian Kelly are the same guy, except Kelly's probably better at golf. Like, I'm serious. The big game records are identical. The overflated ego when you haven't deserved it it's all right there. It's amazing. It's amazing, man. James Franklin is a bigger jerk than Brian Kelly. You haven't been around Brian Kelly enough. You haven't been around Brian Kelly enough if you think that. Try even going to a Notre Dame donor event where you pay a lot of money and write huge checks for Notre Dame. He wasn't even nice to you there. That's how you know you got real problems, you guys. He wasn't even nice when he's in a building where people are handing him $100,000 checks. Brian Kelly has better dance moves than James Franklin. The funniest thing of all of the coolest James Franklin has ever been was when Keegan-Michael Key from like Mad TV and all that imitated him at their spring game. And they're like, what player are you going to run? He does the Coach Hines. Does anybody remember Coach Hines from Mad TV? And he's doing I think we're going to run a 42 special 7 slot back 7 banana Y 4 6. Does anybody remember what I'm talking to when Keegan dressed up like him at the spring game and was being hilarious like Coach Hines? Somebody tell me you remember Coach Hines. That used to be the funniest thing to me. Oh, that used to be the funniest thing to me. Let's look at a couple of these chats and then we'll give it to the callers, huh? C. Jones. ND being a 9.5 underdog in this game may be the perfect setup for the team. I'm telling you, your angle here for Notre Dame is to totally go in the tank as this us against the world. Nobody's giving us a chance. Blow it up. Put it on all over the facility. Everybody predicting a blow. Lean into it 100%. That's your lane on this one. That's your lane on this one. Mikey Poles. Good morning, John. Trust our boys. Trust Freeman. Hey, why count them out now? That's the thing from the Notre Dame side. If anybody's like, I don't know, this could get ugly. I don't know. It's like, you have made it to the last game of the year where if you just play good one night and maybe Ohio State makes a couple mistakes, you're the champions. Now is not the time for a Notre Dame fan to be like, I don't know if I'm buying into this. Like, that's a part of this I really am struggling with, you guys. I'm really struggling with some of the Notre Dame people that are like, I think people are just so hesitant to get burned. I think people are just like, they're protecting their emotions, right? Like, but like now's not the time if you're on the Notre Dame side to start doubting it. You're in the last game of the year. You've made it all the way to the end. You gained some credibility here. Now's not the time to think they have no chance. Haven't they proven they at least have a chance? Steven, good morning, Irish Nation. We owe these beeps 60 minutes of beep you football. 1 week. Let's get it done. Mark with glasses. 1 week away and 1 win away from being able to die in peace when my time comes. Mark, when you wrote this before the show started, I was laughing because I'm just picturing Mark like strokes out. And in his will, he puts that he wants his wake to be at the Always Irish tailgate. And so the next tailgate we have, everybody's drinking Miller Lite. Pat's got his cigar going. And there's Mark's casket in the aisle way. And it's in Mark's will. And it's just like, these are my final wishes. He strokes out, his casket's right there. We're all partying. I put the chain on him so he can take it with him. Put a Miller Lite in there. Oh, my Pat puts a cigar in his suit pocket. And we all say goodbye to Mark at the tailgate one more time. Oh, man. I hope you live a long time, but that was a good one, Mark. I had fun thinking about it. Not your imminent demise, but just this scene of like at the tailgate. Congratulations for Ryan Day being the first coach with a black drawn on beard to reach the championship. I don't like that beard. I don't like that beard, man. Ohio Pod. What's up, my Irish friends? 1 week away from the biggest game our schools have had in a long time. How are we feeling? I don't understand this, Eric. Who's saying this? If you're still in here, let me know who's saying this. I do not understand this. According to your side, John, Ohio State's lucky to be here. How is Ohio State lucky to be there? I don't understand the logic. Who's saying that? And based upon what? I don't know. I just don't understand. How are they lucky to be there? They've kicked the crap out of everybody in the playoff and did enough to make the playoff. I totally don't understand that at all. I don't understand that at all. I mean, and the hope would be Notre Dame rewrites the history books. Yeah, I want an updated book, and it's called Marcus Freeman and the Fighting Irish to put next to this one. But I don't understand, how is Ohio State lucky to be here? We're the ones that have won these close games. They've won by these margins in the playoffs. So I don't understand who's saying that. It certainly isn't coming from me and my group. $2 holler. I was not late. I'm never late. If I'm late, I'm probably dead. I'm not late. I'm never late. YouTube's on a little delay. Blame them, not me. I'm never late, baby. John K. OSU might win 9 out of 10, but not this one. Listen, games are played on a field and not a recruiting database for a reason. I've been saying that on repeat, and I'm going to keep saying it. Games are played on a field and not a computer for a reason. Ohio State should be favored. Most people are going to pick them. I have no beef with that intellectually whatsoever based on the health and the performance in the playoff and the talent. I have no problem with that. Games are played on a field and not a recruiting database for a reason. Sean Duffy, very interesting game. Both teams have a destiny feel. Honestly, I don't think pressure would be an issue. Both teams have already had a worse loss than a natty loss would be. It's true. They both have had that. Steve, $2 holler. Go Irish from Central PA. New follower. Thanks for joining. Appreciate it. $2 holler Commander. Congrats on hitting 12K subs. Yeah, again, thanks Shane Gillis for that one. 41,000 views or something. And by far my biggest video. It's like 42,000 we're up to. So let's go, baby. Patreon's popping too. Good times. $5 holler from the V1 rotate. Does Andrew still desperately want Fickle? I don't know. We'll have to touch base. I do hope that is one narrative that could die now is I don't know if Freeman's the right guy to motivate this group or whatever. I really no matter what happens in the title game, I at least hope we're able to move on from any of that narrative of I don't know if Freeman's the right guy for the job. Can we agree that we could put that to bed and just move forward? I would appreciate if that narrative would die from the Notre Dame end. $5 holler from the Swan Dog. I posted the Shane Gillis clip from your channel on all of his subreddits, including his podcast subs. Hopefully that helped. Dude, I appreciate that. We're getting a lot of run. And I saw some of those articles. Some sports websites pulled it and then wrote an article about it. It was getting some really good run. It all helps me. I appreciate it very much. V1 rotate, $10 holler. Everybody only talks about the ND blowout loss to Alabama the last time they played for a title, but forgot to mention the last time OSU played for a title, they got blown out by 28 points to Alabama. Yeah, I get that when you're debating the history, but how much does that have to do with whatever we're going to see coming up, right? That's the thing. I think you need, listen, man, you just throw everything at this. You go for it. Kelly and I don't want to make it about Kelly. God, I'm sick of talking about that guy, but it is the most recent Notre Dame playing in these moments that I have to measure. Here's the difference. The difference is Kelly coached in those games to not lose, or he coached in those games to not lose by a lot. There was a frailty. There was a frailty to the way Notre Dame approached those moments, as if admitting we have no chance. We're just trying to minimize the damage and not lose by a lot. That was always the feeling in these big games, that Notre Dame was playing and coaching scared. This is different. This is different, and this team's not going to do that. And so, yeah, I don't know. Notre Dame might lose. It might just be one too many weeks that our banged up roster can hang in there. Maybe that happens, but it isn't going to look like Notre Dame's scared to be there. It isn't going to be a cowardly game plan. I will respect Notre Dame if they go for it, take some chances, do whatever they could do to try and win. And if you don't, you don't, but you laid it all out there. Those plans before were anxious, tight, conservative, and scared plans by Notre Dame. And what happens is, talk to Goolsby about this. What happens is when the coach has a plan and approach that everybody knows is conservative and scared and tight, that leaks down and permeates into the players. It does. You always hear how players take over the team, and the players eventually take on the personality of the head coach. Well, that's why Notre Dame always played scared and never did anything in those moments. The plan was scared. The coach told them to be scared by the plan. This is all different, man. And so how much will that matter? I don't know, but I think a lot. This is absolutely true. I'm telling you now, Notre Dame has got to stop the run. If not, it's going to be a field at 100%. Absolutely 100%. Got to stop the run. Yeah, it is. Yeah, that is for sure. Good to see you, Dr. John. Texas Chris. The mental approach this week is all in, no retreat, no surrender, no looking back, burn the ships a lot. Like, yeah, that's it. Well stated. 100% dive into this thing, embrace the underdog thing, and roll it out there and go for it. If Notre Dame takes some chances and it doesn't work out, couple trick plays, some fake punter Rooney with Buckner throwing the ball, whatever. If Notre Dame takes some chances in this moment and doesn't end up winning, I'm fine with that. I am fine with that. This is your chance to change Notre Dame history. I'm all for going for it. Don't be reckless. But if Notre Dame's got to take some chances in this moment, go for it. I'm all for it. And if it doesn't work and they stop it or whatever, good for them. Good for them. But at least I'll admire that Notre Dame went out there and played to win and not just to not lose by an embarrassing amount. So that's all I'm saying. And so I don't know. Yeah, I see a whole bunch of insults about Rudy. It's always good to have a Rudiger in the chat. Angela is here, and she is a lovely person. And if you want to make fun of her uncle, that's fine. I understand that you think he was offsides and all the typical stuff. Like, God bless Angela. She's the sweetest person, and she just sits here. I always wonder what Angela thinks. Her nickname's Rudy. And I always wonder what she thinks when she's in here just innocently supporting Notre Dame. And then all these other fans come in and they just start ripping on her uncle and everything. It's funny to me. Oh, that's funny to me. All right, let's get into some calls. We're going to try and do the 5-minute thing and see how many people we could get in here. So let's try and stick to it. 573, what's going on?
What's up, John?
Hey, this is going to be a big build-up. This is going to be a long week. What do you make of this? How it's setting up for Notre Dame? What do you think their approach should be? How are you thinking of this matchup?
Honestly, I'm just happy to be here. I'm happy that we're in this position, and however the game turns out, I'll be happy because what this is going to do for recruiting and the future of this team. Like, we have like half of the starters from the beginning of the season out right now.
Yeah.
Half.
Yeah.
And we're in the natty.
Yeah.
Like the level of coaching and like the level of development. Like, look what he's doing with 2- and 3-star talent.
Yep.
Like Coogan, 3-star. Angeli, look what he did, 3-star. Faison, 2-star. Like,
yeah.
The amount of guys that they've been able to elevate I'm just blown away. Like,
Yeah.
honestly, like I couldn't have imagined anything like this.
Yeah, they've done a good job. And so I think there's multiple things to consider here. One of them is, regardless of how this game turns out, there's a lot of good things going on in the program, and they're proving their proof of concept with their development, taking some lower rated guys that end up being 4 and 5 star guys once they hit the field at Notre Dame, developing. Their evaluations are obviously pretty good. They have a really good staff. The staff has been awesome with their development, their assessment of what they're looking for. They've all done a really, really good job. So no matter what happens in this game, you can feel confident on the Notre Dame side. You're trending in the right direction. You have a really good staff that you could trust with an eye for talent and an ability to develop and get these guys going. And so that is a bigger picture thing that's great. And so while I acknowledge that, you may as well win this one. You know what I mean? Like even if you don't, you have all that going for you that gives you confidence about where the program's headed. This is nowhere near a top-level Marcus Freeman team. Nowhere. This doesn't look anything like what a top Marcus Freeman talent team healthy looks like at all. And you're still in this position. Yep. That's a big compliment.
Yep. It's crazy. Like, the level of coaching is elite. And I don't think anyone can deny that now. Because I think we've all been banging the Freeman drum for so long, and just to see him have this level of success, it just feels so vindicating. Like,
yeah, it does. There's only one chapter left, though, right? There's one chapter left. The full Ohio State boy, full circle from player, all Big Ten linebacker, all the way up through the painful 2 losses he's had at Notre Dame to Ohio State. The second one particularly painful. And the only final chapter here is he gets ultimate revenge on Ohio State, and the ultimate redemption is his, and he gets a bronze statue across from Frank.
That would be insane. Like, this is going to be the best title run ever.
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
is it the best title run in college football history? I know it might be the best in Notre Dame history, because the teams that they've had to beat to get here and the level of injury that they've had to deal with is just.
Yeah, I think it's hard. Isn't it hard it's hard to do an apples to apples thing when like this is the first time Notre Dame's had to win 3 games to even get to the championship in the postseason, right? Like, that's where I'm struggling.
Right.
That's where I'm struggling to like put this all together, because it's such new territory. It's hard to compare it to what came before, because you got to win 3 games in a row against top 12 teams to even get to this chance. So what does Notre Dame have to do to pull this off, man?
Keep doing what they're doing. Don't change anything. Don't think you've arrived. Like, just keep doing what they've already, like, the level of preparation has been on point, and I think they just need to keep on keeping on.
Yeah.
Like, just do what they're doing.
Yep. Do what you're doing. Lean into the underdog thing and just let it all rip out there and go for it. Anything else, my friend? Thanks for starting us off today.
Yeah. I just want to talk about how great it is that Freeman has handled all of these racial questions the way he has. Like, it's not even like a politically motivated thing. It's all about the team always. And they keep trying to get him into to make a political statement, and he refuses to, because it would make it about himself.
Yeah. He's always understood innately, naturally, that it's all about the lady atop the dome and not about his ego. Like, literally, he's never wavered. He's never ventured from that to give himself credit or anything. It's always all about the collective Notre Dame community and Notre Dame value structure with him. And I appreciate his consistency with that.
It's insane.
Yeah.
Like, I'm so proud to be a fan of the team that he's the coach of. Like, I'm not even kidding. I would vote for Freeman as president. Yeah, he's that awesome. Like, he knows how to lead. He's a great leader.
Yeah. It's man, I'm just glad to see the guy that I believed in and wanted to have as the coach is succeeding, man. Like, I saw something in him, was pushing for him to be the head coach, even when he was the DC under Kelly. There were some rough times, and I am enjoying seeing him come back around. Try and keep the politics out of the chat, you guys. Jesus God, can we just talk about football? Can you just
I'm
stop?
sorry for bringing this up. I knew that was going to happen.
I'm not trying to turn it into that. Can we just talk about football? One of the few things that shouldn't have politics involved. My God.
The whole point is that
seriously,
he
you guys.
to turn it into a political thing.
Yeah,
that was my whole point.
Yeah.
To not do this.
Yeah. So, man, I appreciate you starting us off, and I'm with you. Call me back in a few days.
Can I add one more thing real quick?
Yeah.
How cool it is that Brady Quinn started the Fun Collective as a response because he heard Kelly's comments. Like, what a savage Brady Quinn is. Like, what an awesome dude.
Yeah, it is. It's really something, man. And Notre Dame's also now starting to get into the transfer portal and be able to, have you noticed they've been able to pick up somebody who has multiple years of eligibility? There are things changing around Notre Dame. They're really going for it. Thanks a lot, buddy. Give me a call back later in the week if you want to. A couple more chats, right back to the calls. Look at this. Ohio State, 48. Notre Dame, 17. That's an unfortunate outcome. The post-game show would not be great. Ghoster. Perhaps I could educate you on something, and we'll see if you're open-minded enough to this or not. I suspect you may not be. Most Notre Dame fans didn't even go to Notre Dame, same as Michigan. Here's what I'm going to try and explain. You don't have to accept it, but I'm going to explain to you some realities. When your school isn't just based on geography and just the region where the school is and whatever, and that's just like most of the fans are just from there, that area or whatever. I know it may be hard to understand, but when you have an institution that tries to focus on spirituality and as the Irish thing to it, that is something that resonates across all states and all regions. Okay, Notre Dame used to be that little school fighting for the underdog, Irish immigrants and all that stuff. And the religious aspect of it and all that, that used to be the group fighting for those people in this new country. If you can't understand how that would appeal to more people than just those that grew up in northern Indiana or whatever, you have a problem in your brain and you're not smart. You have a problem in your brain and you're not smart. And you're very small-minded, closed-minded, probably bigoted as well, to be quite frank. I'm just telling you, you don't have to like it. You don't have to respect it. But understand why Notre Dame has the large fan base it does, even including people that didn't go there. That is the place that represents those Irish Catholic immigrant views and a way to be proud of that group in the new world 100 years ago and whatever. That's how that all started. That's how that all started. So I think that you should just shut your stupid face when you're on my program about the Catholic thing. Shut up, go away, or I'll make you go away. I have no problem with people in here disagreeing with me or talking about the game. Keep going, and you're just ghoster. You're going to be a ghost. So take the shot at the Catholic thing one more time, and you're gone. See ya. I'm not letting you. You want to talk about football? Talk football. We're not doing anti-Catholic stuff here. Get the hell out of my show. That's where I draw the line. Get out of the show. See ya. You want to talk about football? You want to talk about football? Talk about football all you want. You want to start talking about our beliefs? You could get the hell out of my damn show. Stay away. 815, what's going on? Anything? 815, hold on. Anything about football is fair game. You're going to come in here and start taking shots at religion and at Notre Dame for that kind of stuff. You're gone. It's very, very fair. Go ahead, 815.
Hey, John. I got a question for you. There's 12 teams in the playoffs. Are we playing the four douchiest coaches?
Man, it is. It is. Well, I don't know. Hey, wait. Brian Kelly's not in the tournament, so I can't do. I'm not gonna. Brian Kelly's not in the tournament.
In the field, if you take the other 8, is there someone you would substitute out for the 4 we played as the 4 douchiest coaches?
You know what, though? I respect Kirby, though. I do. Like, even though I don't like his hair and the goofy visor and the way he's on the field arguing with the refs the whole time, like, but I respect him because he at least has skins on the wall. Yeah,
I don't think that separates them. I mean, yeah, I agree. Still kind of douche.
Yeah, I mean, that's fine, but at least he has some credibility. Like, at least he has some credibility to his name. But man, wouldn't it be the ultimate redemption to come full circle for Freeman and find a way to get this one?
It would. I mean, it's going to be, honestly, I don't know how this game's going to go. I'm guessing it's just going to be a slugfest like all our other games are. But who knows? I missed Saturday's show. I was actually at the Shane Gillis show in Dallas. He sold out the American Airlines Arena. What a show. So if he comes into your town, I would suggest get going because it was awesome. He did a great job, and Tony Hinchcliffe opened for him.
Yeah, that's great. People should have yelled, "Always Irish! Always Irish!"
He actually had one of his main lead-ins to the joke of story was about him going to Notre Dame. So it was kind of funny because me and my dad were sitting next to each other, and he was like, our parents, or he's like, my dad and this other drunk guy, they dropped us off on campus, and we went to the bar, and we were like, yep, they went to the linebacker all day, and the kids were just running around on campus.
Yeah,
it's kind of funny because we kind of knew what they were talking about.
Yeah, it's man, I just listen, man. This is it. You got your chance. How does Notre Dame pull this off? What do you see this? If it's a brawl slugfest, like you said, I think that's great for Notre Dame, right? Like if it ends up being one of those ugly slugfest brawls, that means Notre Dame. That's the way Notre Dame wants to play this game. Is a game like that.
Yeah, I mean, outside of the one play, the halftime play that Henderson scored against Texas, I mean, they only gave up 14 points. They basically played zone all game and bracketed Jeremiah Smith and said he ain't beating us. And again, outside of one stupid play, they gave up 14 points. So, I mean, we know Golden runs a lot of man. Will he kind of pivot and, realize he might have to play a little more zone this game?
Yeah.
Especially that one interception Howard threw, that was against zone where the linebacker, dropped instead of rushing the quarterback, kind of how we do it all the time. So I think we're going to have to play a little more zone than maybe we're accustomed to, just to kind of keep everything in front of us and make them drive the field and not give up the huge chunk plays.
Yeah, it's going to be it's going to be interesting. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how Al Golden wants to do that. And Goolsby thinks they're still going to be in man a lot, and then in certain situations go into zone, but they trust their guys in man. And if you're going to try and sell out at the line of scrimmage, that's going to put guys on an island out there, and they're going to have to defend those great athletes. So I don't know, man. Anything else you got?
Just one thing, I guess, for you personally. I think Monday is the day where you need to wear a pedometer. We need to get a step count on Monday and see how many steps you take before the game starts.
Oh, man. It's going to be a lot of...
I gave you the heart rate idea.
Yeah.
I gave you the do-rag idea. I think you got to go with the pedometer. You might have 20,000 steps before the game starts.
Yeah, it's... man, it's going to be... It's going to be a stressful buildup, but one that I'm excited for, man. Hey, thanks for all the support and for always being here. Appreciate you.
All right, take care.
Have a good one. I don't know why I don't think it's me, but his audio is not perfect. Troy, is this Gerard Parker? Remember that guy? There's nothing wrong with wishful thinking and hoping, but Notre Dame ain't winning. Listen. If you can't be wishful and hopeful about this opportunity, when could you be? Like, that's what I don't understand. It's like Notre Dame fans, just give it up. You have no chance. Bro, if ever there was a chance to believe in Notre Dame, it's this team in this moment and what they've already done. They have the longest winning streak in the country. Now you expect Notre Dame fans to just be like, oh, yeah, we suck? Like, that just doesn't make sense to me. Why would anybody think that? With all this team has been through and overcome, why would you be like, well, I don't know. Now's the last one. We definitely don't have a chance today. So I don't know. I don't know, man. 770, what's going on? Apparently nothing's going on with 770. Apparently nothing. Bruce, what's going on?
John?
Yeah.
Hey, what's going on, man? How you doing this morning?
I'm doing very well, man. This is going to be quite the build-up. This is going to be a long week, Bruce.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. And that's at least we got the NFL. So, all right, some quick notes here that I was taking while you were talking. One, the hypocrisy of people in general is confounding to me. They say things and ask things and never think about themselves, right? So they say that most people who root for Notre Dame never went to Notre Dame. Okay. As of 2022, only 37.7% of Americans actually graduated from college or another higher education institution. So that means only 1 in 3, well, a little over 1 in 3 Americans graduated from college. So with that, most people never went to the school that they root for. So, like, what's the whole point of pointing out Notre Dame with that? I don't get it.
Yeah, that's a good point. So by that theory, then it would be if you didn't go to college, you're not allowed to root for any college football team. Then, right?
Apparently not. Apparently not.
Yeah.
So okay. So next point. You were asking why are they downplaying the money that they spent now? Ohio State. They're downplaying the money that they spend now because if Notre Dame should pull off the quote unquote impossible and beat them, it will look even worse. That with a $20 million college roster and literally the best team money could buy, they got beat by Notre Dame, who is literally limping along to the finish line. So that's why they're downplaying it. You know how they do when it comes to Notre Dame.
Dude,
you know
I didn't even mean that as an insult or anything. It's totally legal. And I'm giving recognition that they cranked it up. They were sick of losing to Michigan and got serious and cranked it up and did all that. Like, that wasn't meant to be an offense. It's completely legal. And I'm giving them credit for buying in at that level. That's all.
I know that and you know that. But guess what? There's a saying that says hit dogs holler. And that's what this is.
Yeah.
All right. Next up, here's a question for you real quick. Could it actually be better in the situation that we're in that Notre Dame came up just short last season against Ohio State? It's kind of like it reminds me of when the Giants came up short in the season finale against the undefeated New England Patriots and then beat them in that same Super Bowl that year.
Yeah.
And if the Irish know that they can play with this team and they've held a high-powered offense in check for the last 2 seasons, the only issue is, how do we come up with the points to be able to win this game? But my question is, could it be better that they came up just short? I mean, that's motivation, right?
Yeah, think about it, man. It's kind of that reminds me of the narrative of people saying Notre Dame losing to Northern Illinois was the worst thing ever. And then it actually maybe became the biggest motivating thing ever, right? Like turning a negative into a positive, whatever. If I'm Freeman, I am showing replays at the end of the 23 game, and Eric's saying this is a very different Ohio State team this year. I totally understand that, but for motivational purposes against that I totally understand that it's a different setup, Eric, a different talent. But I'm just saying, put that thing on and show us failing at the end of that game and create some motivation against the program. I understand the talent's better on Ohio State this year, but Notre Dame's the underdog, and your narrative is to lean into that as much as you can. There's no go to the bottom of the barrel, man. You're the underdog. Dive into that and lean into it 150%.
Yeah, I hear that. So I heard you earlier saying that I guess some people are denigrating Notre Dame still and saying they don't deserve to be there in the championship game and all of this nonsense, but I've learned from listening to you all these years, John, and I've told people this as well. There is nothing Notre Dame can do short of scheduling Ohio State, Bama, and Georgia 4 times a year, every year,
Yeah.
that will satisfy these people. And then they'll still find a way to say that, well, you played them so many times, or you know them, of course you should have beat them, or, so-and-so got hurt. Oh, of course you beat them. Yeah, they'll find a way to never give Notre Dame their credit. But I'll say real quick, that's more so now the fan bases than the mainstream sports media. The mainstream sports media, again, I am so surprised at how much respect they are giving Notre Dame based on what they've done. And I think, again, a whole lot of that has to do with Marcus Freeman. They seem to love this guy. The next question was, if Notre Dame won this title, would it be the best title run ever in college football history? So, yes, there's no precedent to compare it, to which to compare it. But, yes, it would be the best title run ever because we've never seen a championship team have to go through a 12-team playoff and win either 3 or 4 games to get to the championship. That's one. Secondly, when accounting for all of our injuries, that's 2. And then 3, the fact is that how apropos would it be that the initial 12-team playoff, the most historically significant team in the history of college football, would be the one to get the job done. I think it would be huge, and it would be the best best run to a title in college football history. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's Bruce. I really did think Notre Dame having to win 3 games to get to the title against 3 different kinds of teams. I really thought that would give Notre Dame some credibility that they didn't necessarily have before, because you had to beat 3 of these teams. And it really, I am a little surprised there isn't more like, okay, we need to acknowledge it hasn't always been pretty, but Notre Dame keeps finding a way to win, and we're going to respect that. It's just, if you hate Notre Dame and you're all against Notre Dame, no fact pattern's going to change it. I think that's the reality.
Correct. Yeah. People think how they think. And 2 more quick things. I'm trying to run through them, and then I'll get out of here. I'm trying to make the 5 minutes. So real quick, we mentioned Freeman. We all love Freeman. The Chicago Bears are adamant that they want to interview this guy. And I really hope he does an interview, because I believe that if he interviews, which is his right, they're gonna offer him that job. And it's tough. Like, if you're a football coach, your ultimate goal, and I think he played there briefly in the pros, but anyway, if you're a football coach, your ultimate goal is to coach on the highest level. And if you get a shot at the NFL, I don't know that you can turn it down, man. I really hope he does an interview, because we love him and we want him there, obviously.
Yeah, it's really.
That, and then I had one more.
It's really, really interesting. I don't I don't know, man. I believe Freeman's gifts, personality wise and communication wise and mentor wise, would be best served in the college game. I'm not saying he wouldn't be a good NFL coach. I just think his specific gifts and skill sets are perfect for leading these young men and being a mentor to these guys. And I just think he's best served doing that. And the other thing is, are you really going to be like, we got to get Caleb Williams up and running, and we're going to bring in a guy who's on his 3rd year head coach who's a defensive guy? Like, I'm not exactly sure that's the best fit right now. I don't know, but what do I know?
So the reason that could work, and then I'll get to my last point before I get out of here. The reason that could work is that Marcus Freeman clearly has shown he has demonstrated an ability to hire high-level assistants. So that's the key. It's not going to be him that necessarily has to get Caleb up and running. It's that he can hire high-level assistants. So that's that. But again, I don't want that to even be an issue. So the last thing I had to say, and I know you said that we want to keep it football, we don't want to keep it political, but I had to respond to this real quick. No one's trying to get Marcus Freeman to make a political statement, right? But, as somebody who's asked these questions and been in these things and been a reporter, at the end of the day, you can't not interview Marcus Freeman and ask that question about the fact that he is on the precipice of doing something that is so historically significant for his sport. And that's being the first minority head coach to win a national championship. You'd be derelict in your job to not ask that question. Because I guarantee you, when you go back, your editors can say, why didn't you ask this question? You have to. Now, he's doing a fantastic job about keeping it all on team and not about him. But I guarantee you that if they win afterwards, a couple days later, when he sits down for the long-form interview, he will have some commentary to make on it, because this is America. And if we're real, race is always underneath the surface. You don't have to make everything about race, but it's always underneath the surface. So that's all I had to say.
I totally understand why it's being asked. And I totally understand how and why Freeman's taking the high road and not wanting to make it about him, right? Like you could do both.
right.
Like I could say I understand why
Yeah.
all those editors are telling them, ask this or whatever. But I also understand why Freeman's like, I am not going there and I'm not wanting to make that
Absolutely.
about this and then make it all about the team and Notre Dame and all that. I
That's
totally
Let's go win.
I understand that on both sides. Bruce, thanks a lot for the call, man. I really appreciate you.
Yeah, man. Thank you for taking my call, John. Have a great day, and I'll be listening.
Oh, you too, man. Thanks a lot. The phone lines are clearing up. Give me 1 second. I'll be back, man. Phone lines, keep them coming. Oh, boy. All right. Oh, boy. Turn down your volumes, folks. 559 is on the line. What's up, baby?
What's up, John? First of all, I totally understand that not every time people call are going to be able to get through, especially on Saturday night. Above all, man, I was just relaxing and just happy and enjoying the moment. And Notre Dame is playing for the national championship.
Yep.
That, first and foremost, that was just exciting for me. It's been a long time waiting. It's been a long time moment. Again, I'm at work. I can't really vent how I want to vent. I have people around me. People know that I'm calling your show right now. I have a lot of people that are tuning in now listening to your show because of my crazy madness the other day. But it's one of those things where you get these certain fans that all of a sudden start saying, you don't belong here. Basically, don't even show up. But you know what? This is why we play the game. You know what I mean? We're not going to play your game. We're going to play ruggish, stick the ball on the ground, cross that line, and smack you in the mouth. That's the game that we're going to play. We believe in Marcus Freeman. We believed in him from day one. I'm not going to stop now. I don't care if we're down to whatever we're down to. We got troopers and we got savages. And if you don't know anything about savages, we're going to fight, scrawl, punch, whatever the hell we got to do to get to where we need to get to. And I believe that we're going to do something that no one's expecting us to do. And here's the thing. I wouldn't bet anything against Al Gordon. Not one single thing, John.
Yeah.
I believe that we can actually pull the upset. I truly believe. I wasn't even talking no shit. I'm sorry, Zach. I wasn't talking no shit yesterday until you have these Ohio State fans start calling me up and start going at me for no reason. And I'm like, bro, I'm minding my own business, but you just woke me up. You know what I mean? Well, guess what? We're not gonna mess around with y'all. We're gonna give you 4 quarters, 4 more quarters of what I told you the other day. 4 quarters of FU football. And we're gonna get this. You know what I mean? We just gotta believe in our coaching staff and our team. And you know what? At the end of the day, if our guys go out there and give their heart out and they look at each other in the eyes and say, you know what, I gave it my all. You know what? I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. The most important thing is that people starting to recognize that this ain't your old Notre Dame grandpa's football team anymore. You know what I mean? It's not. I mean, we suffered for 31 years, 32 years of a bunch of crap that was given to us. And you know what? So now we're giving it back and you don't like it. Because you think that we're all like, you know, these junior Boy Scouts that are not going to run their mouth. And you know what? Not this one. You know what I'm saying? This one comes from a brother's neighborhood that came out of it. And you know what? And I'm proud of it. You know what I'm saying? So the same way I'm proud of that, I'm proud of my football team. I'm proud of Marcus Freeman. And above all, John, I'm proud of you, my boy. I'm proud that you let people speak their mind and vent in whichever way it is. You give them a platform to say what they got to say. You know what I mean?
I appreciate that.
Kudos to you on that. And never change. Never change, my boy. I know I never get to tell you how much I care about you and how much I love you, my boy. But on my mama, my boy, you family too, bro. The other day you told me that I keep forgetting to tell you because I get on these little things that I forget to tell you, man. But you family, my boy.
I appreciate
and thank you for meeting me and me and my son and everything.
Oh, no problem, man.
But
I'm glad that you found the show and you're a big part of the community here, man. Anything else? I appreciate your reserve today while you're at work around mixed company. I appreciate the restraint. I appreciate the restraint. I know it's not easy for you.
Yeah, because I have my directors, I have the VPs, and everybody that goes, because a lot of them are from Wisconsin and the Midwest, and they're like, hey, so I heard that you're the 559 guy on some show. And I'm like, yeah, so I showed them who you are. And then right now, they're sitting there. I wish I could record you. I wish I could record it. Right now, I'm thinking everybody gets to see your show on their laptop and hearing me talk, and they're just looking at me and laughing. But the thing is, this is what it's about. It's a crazy. And you talk about, they're bringing that up to Marcus Freeman a lot about the race and all that. But you know what? This is what Notre Dame is. Notre Dame is a diverse culture. It's not just for one culture, it's for all cultures. You know what I mean? And who would have thought that a crazy Mexican that came from a neighborhood that worked in the fields would love Notre Dame the way he loves it? Because you know what? It gave us hope and inspiration to get out of that lifestyle and think bigger and better and do more things in life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's what the University of Notre Dame is. I never went to it, and that's okay. But you know what? I want my kids to go to it. I wish there was a program that would give some of these kids an opportunity to go to Notre Dame, because like they gave it to Jerome Bennett, Tim Brown, and Johnny Rice, and all these other players. There's kids out there that can also strive at the University of Notre Dame if given the opportunity. They have to meet certain requirements. They have to meet certain occasions. But right now, it's about football, guys. It's about us going against everybody. It's us against the world. It's us against Higgins. And Stephen A. Smith, you know what? I got to give it to you, my boy. And even Fine Fart. Fine Fart gave us some love the other day. You know what I mean? Fine Fart, I still can't get in your show, but I'm going to call your show, and I'm going to let you know I still don't like certain things about you. And you'll have Bill Mountain, Stephen A. Smith over there with looking like Yosemite National Park hairline all the way halfway up already. Boy, you might as well just go bald already by that time. But other than that, John, I will be in Atlanta. I got my ticket. My boss bet me $500, and I got those $500, so I used that for my plane ticket. All I got to do is get that Natty ticket now. So if anybody's out there selling tickets, hit me up.
There you go.
I will be in Atlanta tailgating and having a good time and representing Notre Dame to the fullest.
I'll keep an eye out. And just so you know, Goolsby's going to be out there. He's going to have the always Irish flag, and he'll be out there. So he's going to be somewhere. I'll let you know where. Meet up with him and have a beer, okay?
Yeah, I don't drink beer. I told him I'll buy him a Mexican shot or a mezcal. You know what I mean? I gotta let him know what some little kick comes into. You know what I mean?
Wait, whatever you want to.
My heritage comes from.
Whatever you want to do, man. Whatever you want to do, but go see him. Hey, get back to work, and good restraint today. I'm genuinely impressed.
Hey, Irish, you should be happy, because you know what? This is. We started from the bottom. Now we're top. This is where we're at now, my boy.
Oh, man.
Like Drake said, we started from the bottom, now we're on the top. Let's go, guys. Let's go get this.
I love you. Have a good one. Man, that is the most restraint that gentleman has ever shown on this show. It's something wrong with him. I know he says work people around. Somebody better check on him. Look at Eric. This is a good point. Ronald McDonald, you predicted ND would lose to Indiana. Then you said they'd lose to Georgia. Then you said they'd lose to Penn State. Ronald McDonald, he doesn't have a lot of time to look at the football stuff. He's always flipping them fries, fixing that ice cream, the McFlurry machine or whatever. He's always busy doing that stuff. Oh, man. $5 hour from Callan Auto Parts. I want stretchers on the field, fans in cuffs, cops on the field. I want a flag for excessive butt whooping. Let's go. Son of a buck. That's a lot of energy on a Monday morning. Just imagine what this show is going to be like next Monday morning. We're a full week. Do you know what a long week, what a grind this week is going to be? Like, imagine what this show is going to be like next Monday. WPP $10 holler. What is this about the Bears and Freeman? I thought Freeman just signed an extension, that he's an ND man who loves ND. And that his word is good when he said he was committed to ND. I don't understand. WPP. Respectfully. The news is the Bears want to interview Marcus Freeman. What does that have to do with Marcus Freeman? The articles aren't, the news isn't Marcus Freeman wants to interview for the Bears. Random articles end up on the internet saying the Bears are interested in going after Freeman. So this doesn't it's the opposite. You should be glad that all these entities like your coach enough that they want to interview him for the job, but it isn't Marcus's fault. How are you going to say Marcus isn't a Notre Dame man because he's succeeding at Notre Dame and the NFL wants to interview him? How's that Marcus's fault? What do you want him to do about it? Do you want Marcus to tell the Bears not to want him? Like, it would be different if the news was, remember our old coach before the championship game? That news was very different because that news was that Notre Dame's coach wanted to interview for the NFL. This is the opposite. This is the opposite. Respectfully, Freeman could say, I'm not a candidate for the Bears or any other job. He hasn't said that. Or you could just ignore it all and act like it doesn't exist. That's an option. He did kind of say that. Didn't he kind of say that? I actually think he did when this came up. But I don't know. But it's a good sign to see the NFL want your guys. But I do think Freeman actually said something that he's not interested in the NFL or something. But I'm not going to hold it against Freeman that people want to go for him. I mean, that's a good problem to have as long as you either don't lose them or, okay, people are saying he did say that. But here's the thing, saying you just got an extension, that really doesn't mean anything because anybody could buy out anything. Like if somebody really, we all understand that, right? There's a buyout here with that big extension. If somebody really wanted Freeman and he wanted to leave, they could just buy it out. That doesn't mean that he signed an extension doesn't mean he's not going anywhere. You could always buy it out. He did. He was asked about it when the rumors first started after Indiana, and he said he's not interested. So, I mean, I don't know. It is what it is. 845, what's going on? Looks like a first-time caller. What's up?
Hey, what's up, John? How are you?
I'm doing very well. This is going to be a long week with a lot to talk about. What's on your mind?
Well, I actually, I'm getting my PhD at Ohio State. So needless to say, this is insufferable right now.
Oh, wow. Okay, so you're a Notre Dame guy, but going to get the grad degree there, that's a tough blend, my friend. How are you? How's that going?
I mean, the past 2 years, the amount of texts I've been getting when they lost, I mean, again, I can echo other people, worst fan bases I've ever experienced. So I grew up, Irish Catholic, watched every game with my grandpa for 30 years now. And just the shots they take, even the faith-based stuff, they'll go after the Catholic thing.
Yeah, man, it is. It is. That's got to be a really unique challenge for you. Respect to you for getting it, doing the PhD route. That isn't for everybody. I couldn't do it. I know I don't have the brain for it, man. I couldn't do it. I stopped at master's. I don't have it in me. I don't have that brain power. I don't have that. I just knew that was my limit of educations. Like that was as high as it was going to get for this guy. And look what I did with it. Now I'm in the basement yelling about football every day. Isn't it a beautiful thing how the world comes around back to you?
It's awesome, man. Your show is the best, and it makes my week and every day that I listen just a little bit better. So, really
thank you. I appreciate that. So, what is your thought about this? The way I see it is, go ahead and totally lean into the underdog thing as much as you can. Go for it. Go for it. Go for it. I understand why they're favored, all that stuff. I'm not saying that's wrong. So the best thing I think Notre Dame could do is just totally dive in on the underdog thing and let it all hang out there one night.
I mean, I couldn't agree more. And honestly, I'm a little bit more optimistic than just like we play our best game. I think that ultimately Penn State is, they got beat by Ohio State, but they weren't that much worse. And they've improved substantially since then. And, Notre Dame, like all this talk, Ohio State beat Texas, and they didn't even play their best game. I mean, Notre Dame played terribly that first half. It's just, I don't see this as like they're unbeatable. I mean, the secondary for Notre Dame, I think, can keep up with the elite wide receivers. I'm not that worried.
Yeah, it's going to be, man, I totally respect their roster. I respect their athletes. And it's is now the time to question Notre Dame's defense can put together really good effort. Like you know what I mean? They've been the backbone of the program for so many years. It's just, like, is now the time to doubt them? You're in the championship game. It's okay to believe in your team. It's the last game of the year. You made it to the title. Like, now's not the time to be like, I don't know if we can play good. I just don't have that in me. I have my worries, but it's like, dude, now's not the time to think Notre Dame can't play a good football game against a good team. Like, now's not the time for that.
That's what's bothering me the most. It's like, it's not like we're talking about Ohio State versus like some scrubs. Like, they had to win 3 games to get here. I mean, like you're saying, it's not that big of a jump to think that, you know what, they could outplay them and win that night. I don't think it's like David and Goliath. I think it's Goliath and like another very, very good opponent.
Yeah, it is. Man, now's not the time to count Notre Dame out. And you're just like, hey, Notre Dame's got a chance. You do not have to have a better roster than them to win this game. This is not the NBA finals where it's 7 games and the team with more talent kind of ends up usually winning over that time. It is none of that. Ohio State could outplay Notre Dame in most statistical categories and make a couple mistakes, and Notre Dame's in the game. Like, games are played on a field and not a recruiting database for a reason. That is my standing thought.
Exactly. I mean, what does Georgia have? 14 5-stars as opposed to 15? They have a better roster, and it wasn't really that close.
Yeah, it is. Man, it is just whatever, man. I'm at the point where go ahead and I'm all for Ohio State fans being as overconfident as possible. I really do. I want go for it. Like, they should be confident. They have a great team. They're playing good in the playoff. I don't blame them for any of that. It's just now's not the time to count Notre Dame out. It just isn't.
Just not. Yeah, I agree. And just one more thing to close out here is since I'm right here, in the front line in the trenches. I mean, in terms of confidence, I mean, it's just a running joke among, I would say, 90% of these fans that this is just a formality. Like, it's over.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, listen,
it's pretty insulting.
I think that mentality helps Notre Dame. Like, I'm all for it. Like, why not? You're the legitimate, proper underdog here. And I'm not debating that. You are a legitimate, proper underdog here. So go ahead and go 100% with that narrative and run with it. That's your lane to build this up for Notre Dame. And it's just, what though the odds be great or small and all that stuff. Just, this is it. Lean into it. That is your motivational lane for the Irish this time.
Agreed.
Hey, man, I really appreciate the call. First-time caller, thank you for calling in. And congratulations to you getting your PhD. Not a lot of people could do that. And, I wish you luck with finishing your studies. And what's it going to be in? Are you some genius or something? What's it in?
I wouldn't say genius, but it's in neuroscience.
Okay, so you're some genius. All right, got it. So good. Good. You know what, buddy? Hey, you want to do your PhD dissertation on neuroscience? Hook some of these little things up to my brain while I'm doing this show. They'll give you an honorary PhD in 2 minutes. You want to do a neuroscience project? Hook some of them brainwave monitors on my noggin and see what shows up. You won't even have to finish school. They'll just send you the PhD in the mail.
You're the best, John. Thank you again. And honestly, just keep doing what you're doing. It's really, my wife, my daughter, we all love your stuff.
Oh, thank you very much, man. I really appreciate it. And go Irish. And that really is impressive what you're doing with schoolwork. Ohio Pod says neuroscience from Ohio State. I thought it was a stupid school. Maybe they just mean for the undergrads. What do you guys have? 900,000 undergrad students there? Anybody with an Ohio address gets in? What is it, Eric? Literally, how many people, how many undergrads are there at Ohio State? Is it big? Is it as big as Michigan? What does that look like? I honestly don't know. The guy says I'm not a genius, but I'm getting a PhD in neuroscience. Oh, man, that's funny. Nikki Dean loves to be heard and seen. What's up, Nick?
Oh, Johnny, I'm just getting way too hyped up. It's a week away. I'm going to be there. Thanks to my wife saying yes
Yeah.
again to me.
Yeah. It's,
I'm just.
man, it's Nick. It's going to be a very, very long week. Do you agree with me? I'm all in on the approach of totally embracing the underdog role and just letting it rip. I just think that's Notre Dame's lane here, and they should lean into it 100%.
Exactly. I told my wife, because she said 9.5-point underdogs. How are they going to win? I said, they got to play the Navy game. Ball control, score every time they have the ball, and get 3 stops on defense.
Man,
Play the Navy.
The way I see it is anything can happen in one game. I'm telling you, the team that should win doesn't win every football game. If they did, there would be think about this philosophically. If the team that was healthier and had more talent on paper won every game, there would be no reason to play any game because you just look at the talent, chalk up a win for the team with the better, healthier roster, and then move on to the next week. You would have no reason to play the game. Anything could happen in one game. Would I pick Notre Dame to beat them in a best of 5? Absolutely not. You just need to make anything can happen in one game. I'm just throwing that out there. Good or bad, anything can happen in one game.
Exactly. That's what we got to keep focusing on. This one day, we got to be better than Ohio State. This one day doesn't have to be what they beat us 5 times in a row. Doesn't have to be every single time. Just this one day.
Yeah.
This one day.
Yeah, it is. And listen, Nick, here's the other part I'm struggling with. I do see some Notre Dame fans that have a lot of anxiety about this, and so do I. Clearly, so do I. Now is not the time in the championship game where I'm going to be like, well, I don't know if Al Golden's defense can hang in there. Now is not the time for me to be like, I wonder if Al Golden's defense could keep us in this game. No, they've proven that, and it's the last game. Go all in. Go all in on this.
Do everything you can. Trick plays, moving Jagasaw to left tackle, whatever it is. No stops. Hold nothing back. Just like Fouts said in The Waterboy. Last game of the season. No need to hold anything back now.
Yeah, it is. It's just embrace that underdog thing all week. Build it up. Show the highlights from last year's game. Pull up any articles saying that they're going to get blown out, whatever it is. Use it all. Fill up the tank with that motivation, and then you get out there and you play aggressive and you play to win and not scared to lose, and see where that puts you.
Yep. One thing on the way out, Johnny, we got to set up somehow a survey. How many ND fans want to punch Cam Newton in the face?
Man, he is doubling down, tripling down on all that anti-Notre Dame stuff. It is wild. But you know what, man? I don't watch a lot of that crap. I don't care what these people say. I don't appreciate them never respecting Notre Dame, and then right when it's good for their ratings, they jump in there and then start talking about it. I really resent all of that. I resent all of that, and I don't respect it, and I just try and avoid all them talking heads.
Yeah, but it pops up all the time.
Yeah, it does.
All the time. Everywhere.
It does.
And it's just I'm so sick of hearing this.
Yeah, it's... Shut them up.
Punch them in the face.
Shut them up. Find a way to emerge victorious one more time and shut them all up. Nick, I want to tell you, I'm really glad you and the wife are going to be there. You're wonderful Notre Dame people, really nice folks, and people like you deserve to be in the building.
Hey, thanks a lot, Johnny. And we're going to be looking for Goolsby, too, because we're going to be down there actually Sunday. So
yep. We'll figure out some details, but he's going to be out there tailgating. Him and his dad are going for sure. So we'll let everybody know what's up.
All right, Johnny, you have a good day.
Oh, have a good one, buddy. Man, Nick Dean is one of the nicest people. His wife is wonderful too. I'm glad they're going to be there. I know how much this means to him. Oh boy, it's Chicago's very own Tom Frawley. What's up, Tom?
Hey, John, I wasn't going to call, but
I've heard that before. I've heard that before from you.
Yeah, well, this guy called me out. So there's some Ohio State fan named Fart Smeller, and he started disparaging our Blessed Mother, and he's going after all of us Catholics. And he's asking us the pointed questions. I want to ask him one question. How about all those Catholics that have starred and played for Ohio State, the kids from Cleveland and Cincinnati, Moeller High School, St. Edward's High School, and Cleveland? There's been hundreds, if not thousands, of kids from Catholic high schools in Ohio that starred for your Ohio State University, you redneck son of a bitch. And I'll tell you what, you disparage. I'll give you all my contact information. If you're anywhere near the city of Chicago, come meet me at State and Madison in the middle of the city at high noon any day you pick, and look me in the eyeballs and tell me that.
You know what?
I'm 60 years old, and I'll kick the shit out of you like you've never been kicked. You redneck son of a bitch.
Tom.
I hope Notre Dame buries you 42-0. Don't you ever come into my city. Don't you ever come near Notre Dame. You rotten, bigoted prick.
Oh, Tom. You remind me of...
I'm sorry, John. I can't take these fuckers. I told you. This is how they are. Not all of them. There's some classy Ohio State fans on here. But I've had rosary beads thrown at me in Columbus when they were in Notre Dame Stadium. They're the most insufferable, inhospitable. This is the same shit that my people left Ireland for. And it's still going on. It's the Orange Order. It's just like the Orangemen in the north of Ireland. They live in southeastern Ohio, right on the West Virginia and right on the West Virginia-Kentucky border. Those are redneck hillbilly sons of bitches. Don't ever come near Chicago or Notre Dame, because I'll kick the shit out of you, smart ass.
Tom, don't let it get to you, man. Don't let a guy named Fart Smeller get your heart rate up, man. Is it worth it? You know?
I can't stand these people, John.
I know. It's, you know what, you reminded me of Mike Ditka when they were questioning him, and he said, do you know where my office is? 51 Washington. You come down here, let me know when and where, and I'll whip your ass. That's it. That was what was in my head during that. Tom, man, I know you gotta it's just it's frustrating. But so what do you make of the game, Tom? Do you agree with me? Fully embrace the underdog narrative and love it and embrace it.
Yeah,
That's the way, man. That's the path, Tom.
Look, pragmatically on paper, it's a tall order. That's a phenomenal football squad. Are they beatable? Yes.
Yeah.
Especially with Notre Dame. I just saw too many things this year that Notre Dame does that makes me believe it's a magical season.
Yeah.
And does the magic run out? We'll find out soon enough. I think Notre Dame wins a close ball game. I think it'll be a classic. I really do. In my bones, I feel it.
Yeah.
I just want them to. They'll never go away. You'll never defeat that kind of ignorance.
Yeah, man.
You just have to ignore it.
It is. It's rough, man. But I'm kind of with you of the feel of all this is so different, and what Notre Dame's overcome and accomplished this year feels so different. And it's like, now that there's one game left, I'm supposed to throw all that in the garbage and just roll over for Ryan Day. I'm not going to do it. So we'll see what happens, man. We're underdogs. I get why, but we're going for it. It's the last game of the year. Go for it.
Yeah. Well, some jag-off just asked me if I need to take my Ozempic. Hey, I'm in the best shape of my life. I'm at fighting weight when I was 18 years old. You want to come and dance with me too, you fucking moron? I'm sorry. I hate these people, John.
Tom.
I can't stand these people. Pardon my language, pardon my behavior, but I know I'm not going to take that from anybody. So if anybody wants to find out where I am, just ask John. He'll give you my contact information.
Oh, Tom, I love you, man, but I don't like seeing it get like this for you, man. I love you. You know that, but I don't want to.
This is what they do. And I warned people. This is exactly why I'm not going to the national championship game. I actually got offered last night. Somebody offered me 2 free tickets, and all I got to do is get airfare down there. They got hotel. I said, no, I don't want to be around the Ohio State fans.
Yeah.
They are that obstinate.
Man,
No, I don't want to go to Atlanta. Atlanta sucks. If it was the Rose Bowl or New Orleans or even Tempe, Arizona, I would go.
yeah.
Going to Atlanta.
Yeah, Tom, you don't need that.
Right here.
You don't need that extra stress in your life. We're gonna let Goolsby.
No.
We're gonna let Goolsby go out there and deal with it. But you could stay home. You don't need that aggravation.
Oh, I can't. I'd love to be with Goolsby though. That would be great. That would be great fun.
Oh,
that would be hilarious.
oh, Tom,
God bless.
I love you,
Go
man.
Alex.
Hang in there. Don't let him get to you, buddy. Oh, Tom is. God, I love Tom. Oh, that is interesting. Old Ben here. Tom is a Buckeye fan. I will find out where you are and give you a hug, my man. Oh, I love that dude's energy, man. Tom is a real one. Tom is a real one. $2 dollar from the Surge. Bought tickets Saturday, then had a dream we won 17-16. Man, that's a low-scoring affair. That is a low-scoring affair. Johnny's from Star Wars. Who is? Old Ben? Is that I don't understand. Is that some sort of Star Wars thing? I don't know what that. I don't do well with. Don't make me start yelling about this. I don't do good with all this galaxy nerd stuff. Star Trek, Star Wars, Battlestar Galactica. It's all the same thing to me. Nerd space stuff. It's all the same to me. Intergalactic space travel stuff with plots you can't follow. I have no idea. We're in one galaxy 1 minute, then we're in another galaxy, and I got a Sasquatch that's on this side and a robo-computer vacuum on this side. I have no idea what any of it is. I've tried watching Star Wars. I don't get it. I don't understand what's happening. Somebody got to explain to me, why is a Sasquatch on the team? Is he the only one? Where's his family? I don't understand. I don't get it. I don't get it. Maybe I'm just not smart enough. I'm totally open to that. Andrew, what's going on, man? This is going to be quite the week. What is going on, buddy?
Yeah, man, poor Tom. He's gonna have a coronary. He needs to just chill. These Ohio State fans are lame. I agreed with you. Like, I think when you kicked off the first shows post the Penn State win, these, other than I think the usuals like the podcast guy and Kent, like these comments are pretty weak. I thought Georgia fans were much stronger with their smack talk. So.
Yeah, it's interesting. So Andrew, what do you make of this, man? Like, to me, the narrative is very, very clear. Notre Dame's an underdog. I understand why. You got to embrace it, totally lean into it. And Notre Dame's been counted out most of the year and kept winning. Like, you just double down on all that and go do the best you can in this game. Take some calculated risks and go and try and make history. Like, it isn't really that much more complicated to me, is it?
No, and I think I think Notre Dame, I think it was clear, and I'm pretty sure Goolsby and Tim Hyde talked about this, but I think it was clear in the first half against Penn State. Notre Dame came out. There was a clear disadvantage with that loss of time from the NOLA terrorist attack where they lost the whole day. I think they came out looking tired.
They did. And then you add in the flu thing.
Yeah.
You add in, I was told that the flu thing was a bigger story than Notre Dame wanted it to be. And a lot of those guys were dragging ass literally from the flu or whatever. And so you had the short turnaround, all that energy spent on Georgia. And then you add in that stuff. And and then they woke up. Whatever they did at halftime worked. They woke up.
That's I'm like, this team has incredible leadership and might be the team of destiny. Because I'll just be frank, even the Indiana game, I had some doubts, and like the national pundits had their doubts. So this is sort of business as usual for Notre Dame. It's just now that Vegas has more of a doubt against them.
Yeah, but it's like if you come this far, I hear what I don't get is if you've come this far as Notre Dame, why would anyone not believe you could have a chance to do it one more time? Like you're in the championship. Now is not the time to just roll over and be like, this looks like a bad one. It's the last game of the year. You are one of the final 2 teams standing. You have gained some credibility nationally here. Like, you roll the dice and go all in on your underdog thing and see if you can make history. It's that simple.
Yeah, no, I agree. And, I think in defense of people who are really high on Ohio State, they're playing their best football of the season right now. So I think at points during the year, Ohio State didn't look like that. The roster didn't match what the results were on the field. I mean, this is a team who lost to Michigan, inexplicably lost to Michigan. I think even more damning was how they played after their loss to Oregon. I think they came home and played Nebraska, if I recall. And Nebraska had them up against the wall. So, like, this idea that Ohio State is like this invincible team, like when we played Alabama in 2020, and then they had they had the Heisman Trophy winner at wide receiver. They were just stacked all across the board. I don't think that's the case at all. If I recall, Ohio State's had some injuries on their offensive line too, so that bodes well for Notre Dame and Golden's ability to get pressure. What I worry about in this game, really, 2 things, and I know you'll probably break it down with Goolsby later on, but 2 things. Notre Dame, I'm shocked that more teams. And even Penn State, I'm shocked they didn't do it more, but running to the outside the tackles against Notre Dame. Notre Dame has struggled all year doing that. I don't understand why any team run directly at Notre Dame. Why wouldn't you just, pitch it outside and have the defense run laterally? So I worry about that because that guy Henderson, if he gets a hole, he's gone. I mean, he showed it against us, a year and a half ago. And then, his touchdown at the end of the first half against Texas was a killer. I worry about Henderson the most. And then the second thing is, I love your input on this. What do you do at offensive line? Anthony Knapp is definitely out.
Yep.
He's not going to rally and come back.
Yep.
Do you put Jagasaw where he was meant to be at left tackle and sit Baker? Because Baker, I mean, hey, man, valiant effort to come in, only played 60 snaps all year, but dude really had trouble pass blocking. Do you put Jagasaw at left tackle and commit to that and hope that Rocco Spindler is really going to give you a start, or do you just admit that Rocco Spindler's ankle is not going to come back and we're going to stick Jagasaw at right guard?
It's just too many. All of these injuries and then this and that, and it feels like Jagasaw was like dead and buried all the way in August, and now he's back in the biggest moments of the year. And like, I guess I don't know what you do. What is the rumor? What do they get? What I haven't even read what they're finally going to do. Do they know yet? Like, do we know yet on the inside what they're going to go with? Yeah, that's what I'm asking. I don't even know if we know yet what we're going to want to do.
I think they need to figure out what they have with Spindler, because Spindler's tried to make it a go. I can't remember. Did he play the whole Georgia game? I know he got hurt in the Indiana game. Did he play the entire Georgia game?
I don't remember either. Man.
Yeah, I can't remember. But I mean, that's the key. I mean, if he's not ready to go, my inclination is to keep Jagasaw where he's been practicing at guard. Just keep him there, and then coach up Baker. Because I don't know, like I just can't think that you would throw out an injured dude against Ohio State's defensive line. But,
I get that. And man, it's unfortunate. And the other thing, Andrew, is nobody wants to hear about your injuries and nobody cares. And like, it is a reality. This team has been ravaged with injuries in the 2 deep. But nobody wants to hear that as an excuse, right? And Notre Dame hasn't used it as an excuse. They keep finding a way. Yeah, it is. And
I never want to hear it, but it's like, it's the truth. I mean, we even saw it on defense against Penn State. I mean, does Notre Dame give up over 200 yards on the ground if Riley Mills was playing in that game? I don't know. I think he would have made a big difference.
Andrew, are you, let me ask this. Are you genuinely surprised Notre Dame has made this run, given that you didn't have a healthy roster for most of it? Like, does it surprise you how they've been figuring out ways to get this done a little bit?
absolutely. And I think it's total BS that Indiana got sort of singled out as like the weakest team in the playoff. I think as things have played out, Indiana's been vindicated. So that was a really excellent win. We kicked the crap out of Indiana. Then we went through the SEC champ. Like, it's such like I've sort of been angry with all this talk about how the SEC is dead. There's no doubt that the NIL situation in portal has hurt SEC depth. But Georgia, they were outside of Ohio State. Georgia was the hottest team going into the playoff. I know they lost Beck, but we all saw that the backup Gunnar Stockton was almost as good as Beck. So we went through them, and it was essentially a road game. It was in New Orleans, where Georgia is used to playing. So, and then we beat. I'm sorry. I know Ohio State fans will crow about how they always beat Penn State, and they beat them again this year. But I was thoroughly impressed with Penn State, specifically that Abdul Carter. That guy was unbelievable.
Yeah.
So I'm going to watch some Ohio State film to see if they have anybody of that guy's caliber. Because, man, if I'm picking the top 5 in the draft, I'm picking that Abdul Carter. He's like a Micah Parsons type player or something like that.
Tough.
He's ridiculous. So, yeah, so I was really impressed. They gutted it out. So I just don't know. To me, it's, can you block this team? And then I still, and I called in earlier, all playoff, my biggest worry has been Christian Gray. He came through against Penn State, but geez, Penn State's wide receivers are like
no catches.
I don't even think
no catches. It's unbelievable to me that they had no wide receiver catch a pass against Notre Dame. That's wild to me. Obviously they used the tight end. They used the tight end a lot. I think he had 6 or 7.
That guy was awesome.
Yeah.
There was one of your competitors. I wrote in and said, that guy's going to be really tough to cover. Are you concerned about him? They're like, oh, no, it's not a big deal. Golden will figure it out. It's like, that guy almost won the game for Penn State.
Yeah.
So that guy was awesome. So I'm really glad that we don't have to face a guy like that again. But I guess what it comes down to me is, can we block these guys? Christian Gray, and what is Golden going to do with Jeremiah Smith and the wide receivers? Because it's an honest question. Would you put Leonard Moore? Would you tell Leonard Moore to follow Smith, or do you really trust Christian Gray to cover him one-on-one? Because I seriously doubt Notre Dame is going to change their game plan to like running more zone coverage, because I've seen that a lot. And I think Goolsby even raised that on Twitter, and I'm like, God, the last time we ran zone, it didn't look very good against USC. So yeah, I'd be concerned about that. And then where's our offense going to come from? But to me, I'm going to watch back some film. Penn State's defense was so fast to the ball. Like, whereas their DBs weren't that great in coverage, they swarmed to the football. That was one of the fastest defenses ever. And I think it was the best example of that is whenever Leonard ran with the ball, there was instantly a guy on him. Leonard was able to run the football against Georgia, against Indiana, against some really fast defenses. So I can't think Ohio State, for how good their defense is, I'd be shocked if they were as fast, at least up front, as Penn State. So I think that's the key, is that we need Leonard. We lost that element of Leonard running the football. We need him to give us 60 to 80 yards, or else I don't think we have a chance of winning this game. Because I'm just wondering, where's the offense going to come from? So
yeah, it's going to be interesting. We'll break it down and try and figure it out throughout the rest of the week. Andrew, it's just it's good to see Notre Dame make a run, and you are one win away from making history. And it's real progress in the right direction for the program. And finish it off with one more. But think about this some more, and then give me a call back later in the week. Okay.
Yeah, I'll just end on this. For all the Ohio State fans that are talking all this smack, remember, you guys, Urban Meyer's not coaching this football game. Ryan Day is coaching this game, and he's been the biggest choke artist out of any of the coaches that I've seen in the playoff. I mean, that dude's a choker. So I would take a step back and say to myself, hey, am I going to really talk all this shit when I got Ryan Day on the sideline? So think about that.
Interesting. Thanks a lot, Andrew. Really appreciate that. The beard, man. You got to get a stylist and fix that beard. Ryan Day's got money, man. He's a multimillionaire. You got to work on that beard. You got to work on the beard. 443. What's going on?
Hold up, John. I'm switching over. Hey, what's up, John? How you doing?
There you go. What's going on? Crystal clear phone line. Welcome to the show.
Oh, well, no, I've talked to you several times. But anyway, I don't get why everyone's upset about the national narrative. Before the playoffs started, we all laid out what they were going to say no matter what. So it's just like, everyone's just like, oh, we don't get our respect. You never were going to. And I hate to break it, even if you pull off the miracle and beat Ohio State, you're not going to get any respect. It's going to be you weren't in a conference. Even though we have more Big Ten wins than probably half the team in the Big Ten right now, teams in the Big Ten, You're not going to get respect, Georgia. But how can't you not say we're playing with house money right now? I mean, the last time we won a major bowl game, I was 9 years old. I'm 39 now, and we won 2 in a month.
Okay, here's what it is. Here's what it is. I totally get what you're saying. You just don't want it to come off like you're just happy to be there, and if we lose, it's okay, right? Like that's what you want to fight is the feeling or thought of like, oh man, I'm glad we made it, and even if we lose, I'm happy anyways. Like you made it this far, people want to get over the hump, but I totally understand what you're talking about. Freeman accomplished more in a week and a half than anybody did at Notre Dame for 30 years.
Well, I'm not saying we don't want to win the game, and it's not important to win the game. But how, as we as fans, with all the injuries, all the things that happened, all the doubting we personally did from week 2, and heck, when there were 7 games still in, we were still doubting them.
Yeah, that's fair.
And you know what? Now it's just like they keep going, and I'm just like, why do I doubt them now? Indiana's going to beat them. Heard that from the national media.
Yep.
Penn State's got more talent.
Yep.
They're going to beat them.
Georgia's the SEC champion. Surely Notre Dame can't compete with that roster.
Yeah, and they're going to be better with Gunnar Stockton. Then they lose. Then it's like, oh, they didn't have Carson back. And it wasn't a very good Georgia team in the history.
Yeah.
Well, I hate to tell you, there's been a lot of teams this way. And for them to say, we have no chance, let me put it this way. We ain't playing 100 times. We're playing 1 time. You have to be better for 60 minutes.
Yep.
And you know what? I hate to say, Ohio State has shown 60 minutes of great football. But if you go back and watch all the games, they've shown minutes where they've played less than. The key to the game is we have to sustain drives. We can't play one half of football. We have to grind out first downs, use the play clock, because our defense is great, but you can't keep them on the field like the first half of the Penn State game, where they're on the field for almost like 20 of the 30 minutes.
Yeah, it was. You're absolutely right about that. It is. I don't know, man. Now I'm with you. Now's not the time to be like, I wonder if Notre Dame could play with these guys. Like they have earned that credibility. Now it's just about throwing it all on the line in this one game. And you're absolutely right. You don't have to have the better talent. You don't have to be the healthier team. You don't have to do any of that. You just got to make a few plays and win one game and you're champions.
Hey, man, the only thing that didn't happen in our favor is I think Ohio State could have a down game in the next 2 games. I hoping they were going to boat race Texas and have all the confidence. But, as far as the national media goes, keep saying we don't have a chance. Keep saying we don't have a chance. Keep saying that, our players can't play with them. Because you know what? In every instance, whether it's us fans doubting them or somebody else, we proved them wrong. So, and as far as the national narrative, who cares after what happened of what they're saying? You're never going to get respect. They're all pushing their narratives because they want us in the Big Ten or the SEC. They could all get into independent. They talk about the fan bases and all that. Well, you want the money? Go independent then. Okay? So, it's just like the national narrative should never bother you because you're never going to get the respect. We said this after they beat. I was listening to other people and everyone talk about the Georgia game. I'm like, they're going to say Carson Beck wasn't in the game. You're not going to get the respect. The SEC's down. You didn't beat them. Well, you got the trophy. And then, still, first take with ESPN. Well, they hadn't won a major bowl game. Correction, no one corrected them on the show. We've won 2 in 7 days. So you know what? Forget the narrative. And every time we've doubted this or been concerned about this injury and this injury, why should we doubt them when they've proven us wrong every step of the way?
Yeah.
I called you during Stanford, and I'm like, we don't know what Notre Dame team's going to go up. And
even though they prove our narrative wrong. And let's be honest, we have Brian Young, who's a freak athlete that's a true freshman, hasn't even had a whole offseason, still 18-year-old. Like, this is the most athletic team we've had in my lifetime. When have me and you ever said we locked up man-to-man and the receivers didn't have a catch?
Never in my lifetime.
Or something.
Never in my lifetime.
I mean,
yeah.
And the great thing is, I hope they keep saying, yeah, Ohio State fans should be proud. But you know what? Do your thing. Say your piece. But if it doesn't come out, you're going to have to eat your words. And you know what? No one's expecting us to win. I think that's the perfect place to be. They don't believe in you. Just play your game. And you know what? Extend the drives. But you can't have another half where your offense only shows up for one half or not at all. They got to get first down.
And you know what, though? Listen, I don't think that's going to happen, man. I think that was an effect of all of the quick turnaround after Georgia and everything weird in New Orleans and the short turnaround. Then you add in the flu bug and whatever. And I could kind of understand why we were dragging that first half. I believe this is a different scenario. Notre Dame has the day advantage on recovery for this one because Ohio State played another day later. So I expect Notre Dame to be a lot more crisp than they came out to start the game against Penn State. And by the way, they need to be. They need to be. You can't have no bad quarter or half against Ohio State and think you're going to be in this game late. You got to be ready to go the whole time.
Oh, that's 100%. Another thing that, Riley's got to pick up and do better in this game that he hasn't done against Georgia or anyone else is, those screen passes and those in the flat passes. I don't know how many times I was looking at Penn State was bringing the house off the edge, and there's two guys, and I see one corner and the safety 10 yards over top. You're still telling me we can't flip it out there. For the love of Pete.
Yeah.
Through the peak in Indiana, you can't get it over the line of scrimmage. We need the best game of his career. And it still is a tall task. But the O-line's got to get off their blocks and push and do what they need to do. Because our whole life, it comes down to those drives. And you know what the sad thing is? When we were playing Penn State and we were on that drive and we got to midfield and it died out, I said, well, here we go. Our offense had the chance to finish it and they didn't. This is a game where you can't not do it, okay? You have to play your best game. And, hey, if it was 10 games, yeah, we might lose 9 times. But there's still that one chance. Will Howard has made mistakes before. They've come with bad game plans before. I mean, whoever drew up that Michigan game plan and said the best idea is to run right at Michigan's best weapons. So their coaching staff, I've seen a bad game plan from before. So you know what? I'm not saying they're going to, but we've seen it. Anything's been possible in this college football year because I have seen the best from every team. I have seen the worst from every team, and every team has shown that they can be beaten on any given night.
Yep.
That's
man,
all I'm saying.
It's one game, man. Anything can happen in one game. I've been saying it the whole time since this matchup. I have no problem with them being favored. I totally understand why they're favored. It's just one game. Anything can happen, and now's not the time to count Notre Dame out. Listen, man, you haven't called in many, many months. It's a joy to have you back in the show. Thanks for jumping back in.
Oh, well, you did it partially due to your success because, well, number one, usually I'm working during the day, but nighttime, if you're not right on it, man, I've been on a hold a lot. So congrats to your success and all the things you're doing. You deserve it.
Oh, thank you.
I've been listening to you for years. I may not call all the time, but like I said, it's not the old days where you call right after the game and you're like third in the call.
I know, man. Dude, I struggle with it, man, because I want to give everybody a chance. But there's a lot. I cannot keep up with the call log anymore. And I'm trying to find a fair way I try and get new people in. If I see they've never called before to I want to get some new people in, but I want to honor my longtime guys that have standing here, that have names people know. It's not a perfect science, but it is a good problem to have. I admit that.
Let me tell you this, John. Anyone that calls, and even if I get caught at home on hold, I don't care. You know why? Because you're a Notre Dame fan, and every time I'm talking to you, it's like I'm talking to my best Notre Dame football friend. So I enjoy the fact you give people their time because people wait. Sometimes they don't get on. It is what it is. But I'm going to say I enjoy the conversations I hear, even though I think that was the Ohio State fan again, right? That was just in front of me. Was he an Ohio State
I don't
fan?
think so.
But every time that Ohio State fan, I get caught behind him, the nice one, not the idiot one.
Yeah.
And it's just like, if that was him again, it's just like, I'm cursed to be behind him.
No, that wasn't
Me
him.
all bad.
That wasn't him, man. Hey, thanks a lot for all the kind words and for supporting the show, man. Means the world to me. Thank you.
But don't change, John. The reason why your calling show special is because you do give the time, and you don't make it like I don't have time for you. I think that's the most special thing about your show. So people upset they don't get on the phone. Well, I'm sorry, I don't get on the phone all the time. I've been caught on hold 100 times. But every time I call in, you give me the time, and that's what makes your show special. So turn off the noise.
Hey, thank you, man. I really appreciate it. Thank you very much. My main man, Martinez, let's see what's cracking. What's up?
Johnny, am I clear or am I down on mine chat?
You're pretty clear.
Okay, cool. Hold on. Sorry, buddy, are you there?
Yep.
Okay. Hey, real quick, Johnny, thanks for getting me on, man.
No problem.
Thanks for getting me on. Johnny, you know what? You've been saying it the best. And guess what, man? I'm going to tell you the last game I ever played, man. I remember I told you I went to the East High School from High School Musical. That's where I played football at, man. That's where I played high school football at. The last game I ever played, my head coach tells us we're playing against the number 2 team in the state, right? And he says, come on, guys, gather in. He says, guess what? You guys ready? He said, no, are you really ready? He said, guess what? No one's giving us a prayer in the world. No one's giving us a prayer in the world because they're number 2 team in the state. They got NFL staff. They got these facilities. He goes, well, I don't give a shit. I got the toughest group of guys that I've ever coached in my whole damn life. He said, I got coaches that are just as good as those coaches. I got guys that went through 2 days just like they went through 2 days. Knock some dick in the dirt, man. And he says, Renee, you got to start today. Are you ready? Dude, I'm 5'2", 165 pounds, man. I'm like, hell yeah, I got to start. Hell yeah, I'm ready, coach. Guess what? My last play I ever played in my life, 4th and 1. 4th and 1, they say, what do you guys want to go? Go silent snap. Okay, what do you guys want to run? And I got an all-stater to my right. And I got Stanley Havili's older brother, who's a long position of Tongan running back, to my left. Okay, silent snap. We all run up, quarterback fumbles the ball. That opportunity never happened again. But it's okay. But you know what? So 4th and 1, I jumped on the ball. My knee got torn up. I never played another down of high school football. But here's the reason why I tell you that, man, is what he told us in that room that day made us believe that we're going to conquer the Giants. And guess what? That's what the Irish have been doing, man. They've been doing it for 20 years. This whole conference bullshit, this whole narrative bullshit, this whole Big Ten SEC bullshit. Who's been good in the Big Ten other than Iowa in the last 15 years on the west side of Iowa? No one. So to the Ohio State fans who have been calm, class act, and cool collective and class act, man, my hat off to you, man. My hat off to you. My hat off to you guys' passion for you guys' team. But you know what, man? No one's giving us a prayer in the world. But you know what, man? We're the Fighting Irish. And for those who are mocking the faith, the same faith that kept my mom going when 5 out of her 6 kids went to prison, when the same faith that when her only daughter got deported and she had to raise her daughter's 6 kids got deported. You better shut your mouth, man, because I'll meet you in a dark alley anywhere, Chicago, Portland, New York, LA, anywhere, and any day of the week, man. I'm a 3-time convicted felon. I'm 5'6", and I'll get in your effing ass. So that's the same faith that kept my mom going, my dad going, man, when all hope was lost. The same faith when they came from Mexico, man, and they migrated here legally, that kept them going. You better shut your mouth.
I'm going to tell you what.
You better shut your mouth.
I'm going to tell you what. You and Tom would make a hell of a tag team partnership, man. You got.
Oh, me and Tom would be thinking doink. Because I'm a shorter dude. He's 6 foot tall. Me and Tom would be thinking doink. But Johnny, you know what, man?
God.
With that out of the way, man. Ham Fig Newton, Dick Nose, Stephen A. Smith, and Paul Feinbitch, those dudes are all just talking heads, man. You know what? Brian Clark, man. I had my things because sometimes how he talks about and but anyway, Brian Clark, man, has actually been a voice because he's been around these boys because his son plays for it, man.
Yeah.
His son plays for the Fighting Irish. And you know what? He says it best. This is a different Fighting Irish team. This Fighting Irish team is like me and Tom Frawley. We'll take you in a dark alley anywhere, man, and we'll meet you anytime, and we'll play against you, man. These boys are not scared to fight. Brian Kelly was like, well, let's just go in there and give them a good match, guys. These boys are not scared to fight, man.
Yeah.
You're down to your fifth string D lineman. Your fifth string D lineman, and you're still beating these perennial powerhouses, supposedly.
Yeah,
You know?
it is. Now's not the time to count Notre Dame out. I understand why they're not favored. I understand the point spread and why. Now is not the time to say Notre Dame has no chance to pull this off. And that is going to be my theme for most of the week. And that's whatever, man. Anything can happen in one game. Anything else, my friend?
Johnny,
thanks for calling me today.
Oh yeah. What's that thing? You always think that you're not a next to the nose guy, Johnny. And I get that. You know what I'm saying? But you know what, Johnny? You said it best. This ain't played on statistics. This ain't played on 24/7 star rankings. This ain't played on who's got a $20 million roster and who doesn't. It's played on a 100-yard field with 11 men at a time, man. And guess what? Our 11 men have just had that much fight as your 11 men. And guess what, man? Our coach fight. He's not a 6'4", 300-pound, tuck your dick between your legs when your kids are all scrapping. You're in there watching, but you want to fight Lou Holtz, an 80-year-old man. Get out of here, Ohio State fans. Hey, Johnny, I love you. Onward Notre Dame, baby.
Onward Notre Dame. Have a good one. I have all these nice people that are like lovely people and they all want to fight everybody. It's just like, it's unbelievable. But I'm picturing like my main man Martinez is like the whole like Mexican gangster felon angle he's pushing. And then Tom, like the old 60-year-old Chicago white guy. What, like, this is the ultimate tag team WWF, like odd couple. And they're down there. I can just see Tom Frawley flipping off the line, tagging Martinez, and he comes in like Rey Mysterio, and he's doing it. Dude, Notre Dame, Ohio State is breaking everybody's brains. And Notre Dame, Ohio State is triggering this whole new, don't say Road Warriors, there's an Ohio State connection to that. It's just, man, and it's only Monday. We have a whole nother week of this. God. Oh, man. All right, you guys, that's going to be it for the show. We got to end it on that one. I got some stuff I need to do. Callers, I'm sorry. I have a full bank of calls. I'm just not able to get through them all this week. It's just the way it is. I'm trying to do the best I can. I'm going live with Goolsby on Patreon tonight. Bring your questions, bring your comments for the captain. And it's going to be interesting to get into, the reaction to Penn State and get Mike's insights of how Notre Dame can pull off the upset. So 7:00 Central Time, we're going live on Patreon. Bring your questions and comments for the captain. I really appreciate everybody being here. I appreciate the just the interaction. I mean, this is going to be a long week. Try and maintain your sanity. Thanks for the donations. Thanks for the chats. Thanks for the call. A whole nother week. This is going to be cranking up. Man, it's going to be a rough ride. Enjoy it.